Hi, I'm your host, Marsha Florence, for Just Ask. Today we have with us the Alzheimer's Association, the Detroit area chapter. Hurry back and join us. Hi, I'm your host, Marsha Florence, for Just Ask. Today we have with us the Alzheimer's Association, Detroit area chapter. Our guest is Marie DiCostanza, Education and Training Director. Hi, Marie.
Hi, how you doing?
Glad to have you here.
Nice to be back.
Thank you. Okay, now Marie, it's been a while since you've been here, and we want to find out some updates on the Alzheimer's Association, but let's first start off with a little history on the program itself.
Okay. The Alzheimer's Association is a voluntary health organization, a nonprofit, and we're located in Southfield, Michigan, but we cover Wayne, Oakland, Macomb, St. Clair, Sanilac, and Huron County. So we go from here to here. And we provide services and programs for people with Alzheimer's disease and their families.
Okay. Now, how long has the program actually been in existence? Is there a time frame for its existence?
We have been in existence for 18 years, 19 years in May, and then the following year, 2001, we'll be celebrating our 20th anniversary.
Okay.
So we've been around for a while.
Okay, okay. Now, I noticed this is the Detroit area chapter. Is there numerous chapters or something, or how does one know?
There are. We're part of the National Association of Alzheimer's Associations. Our national office is in Chicago, and we're one of over 200 chapters nationwide. We're about the 4th or 5th largest chapter nationwide.
Okay.
And so there are other organizations out there who use Alzheimer's in their name, but we are the Alzheimer's Association that provides programs and services in the community.
Okay, what's your funding source?
We get money from several sources. Our main source of funding is private donations. We are a United Way agency, so we do get money from United Way. We get some state funding, some federal funding, and funding from other grants. So a little bit from everywhere.
Okay. Now, being the director over education and training, what specifically is your job consist of?
I have a great job. I
Okay.
love my job. I am responsible for providing education about Alzheimer's disease to family caregivers, to people who work in nursing homes, assisted livings, to foster care homes, all the way through to setting up physician education programs for physicians in the community. And we also go out and talk to people, for instance, adult protective service workers or law enforcement people. So we go out all through the community and talk to people about Alzheimer's disease. And we do that through our Speakers Bureau. We have a Speakers Bureau who goes out into the community, and also a Professional Speakers Bureau, which helps us provide our caregiver education workshops.
Okay, now let me go back to a quick response. You said the police officers or, law enforcement. Why is it necessary to talk to law enforcement?
Well, it's really important for law enforcement to understand Alzheimer's disease and other types of dementia. For instance, a lot of times people with Alzheimer's disease will take the car and maybe go out and become disoriented,
Right.
which is normal with Alzheimer's disease. And if they're stopped by a police officer, it could be mistaken for someone who's maybe intoxicated. Or on drugs or something. So it's important for them to be able to recognize signs of Alzheimer's, know when someone is exhibiting those types of symptoms so that they can redirect them back to their family.
Okay. Now, do your agency provide identification for its clients, or is there like a name tag, which would be a wrist bracelet or a necklace, or what do you have?
We do. It's called a Safe Return Program, and it's a national program. We have a Safe Return specialist who works through our organization, and she goes out and does community presentations and talks about the program. What the program involves is an identification bracelet and identification for a person's clothing, and an identification card for the individual's wallet. It identifies them as having a memory impairment, and their name and all of their information, including their picture, has been inputted into a nationwide database, so that if someone wanders, their loved one calls this 800 number, and right away they can start a search for the person. And then if they are found by someone other than their loved one or someone that knows them, they can be returned they call that number on their ID,
Okay.
and it tells them where to return them to.
Okay.
So it's a great
that's
program.
It sure
It's a
is.
$40 one-time charge.
Okay.
We can work a sliding fee, and if someone definitely can't afford it, we'll work something out.
Okay, that's good to know. Now, when your speakers go out, are they volunteer speakers or staff members?
They are both.
Okay.
But mostly volunteer speakers. They go through a training through the organization, through the education department. We provide training for them on speaking about Alzheimer's disease. They also attend our 3-part orientation workshop, which gives good information about the disease, how to handle behaviors, communication skills, community resources, and the whole,
Okay.
whole span of information.
All right, that sounds good. Now, let me ask you this. How closely do you work with the physicians?
We provide physician education programs. We have a medical and scientific advisory council that meets every other month, and they provide help in going out and reaching physicians, giving us materials to distribute, and suggestions on reaching the physicians. So there are programs set up. A lot of times we work through the pharmaceutical companies in setting up those programs and get our information to the physicians through their programs as well.
Okay, so is there a great deal of involvement with nursing homes, skilled nursing homes, or adult care homes, or anything like that?
Yeah, we go into nursing homes if we are requested. We go into nursing homes and provide in-services for the skilled nursing employees.
Okay, okay, because I'm sure when you go to the skilled nursing homes, you find a variety of conditions in a nursing home. But is it distinguished when you go into the nursing home what person has Alzheimer's, or it doesn't matter?
Well, about 60% of people in nursing homes have Alzheimer's or some type of dementia.
Okay.
So it's important that everyone in a nursing home know how to handle the dementia patient and be dementia capable.
Okay.
So to speak. Maybe not dementia specific, but dementia capable, so that they know how to communicate, how to handle behaviors, things to look for.
Okay, now could you be so kind and define the word dementia for us? I'm sure our listening and viewing audience is going, what's dementia? So could you tell us a little bit about dementia?
It's a common question that comes up.
Okay.
Dementia is a syndrome, and it's if you think of dementia as an umbrella, and it's a syndrome, a group of symptoms that includes a decrease in memory and thinking abilities and cognitive functioning. Alzheimer's disease is a brain disease that comes under dementia. So it's a type of dementia, but not all dementia is Alzheimer's disease. So you can have vascular dementia or late-stage Parkinson's disease or late-stage AIDS or Huntington's disease, and there's a whole list of types of dementias.
Okay.
Alzheimer's disease makes up about 60% of the dementias that we see. But if you think of it that way, as an umbrella, and then Alzheimer's coming under that umbrella, along with some of those other dementias.
Okay.
So not all dementia is Alzheimer's, but Alzheimer's is a type of dementia.
Okay. Is there a particular age group that actually is diagnosed with Alzheimer's early, or what age group period can Alzheimer's fall under?
Statistically, 10% of the population over age 65 has Alzheimer's disease or some signs of Alzheimer's disease. And that percentage increases as people grow older. So when you look at the group 85 and above, 50% of those people have Alzheimer's disease. So it's a huge problem. In this area alone, there are 70,000 people with Alzheimer's disease. So age is a risk factor, and that's really important. There are people in their 30s and 40s and 50s who also have Alzheimer's disease, but that's much less common than older folks.
So that's
who have
rare
Alzheimer's.
that a person
It's
30,
rare,
40.
but it does happen.
Okay.
It does
And
happen.
so if a family member has a older parent, what would be some of the signs?
Well, the first sign that you see normally is a problem with short-term memory, with recent memory. And you can also have problems with disorientation, not being able to orient to the date, not knowing the date or the place or who someone is. You also see problems with language and changes in personality. Bad judgment, poor judgment is affected. Anything involved with cognitive functioning.
Okay.
But the memory loss is one of the key things, and not being able to learn new information.
Okay. Now, we used to think that when an older person had short-term memory, they had another word for it or something, that, getting senile. So there's no such thing anymore. senility, or is there a dividing line between what we consider senility versus what is considered under Alzheimer's?
They don't use the word senility anymore.
Okay.
Sometimes you hear it used, but
Okay.
really you don't hear it that often at all.
Well, you know, a lot of us just associate senility with the fact that, oh, well, grandma's 80 years old, so, you know, she's probably senile, and not necessarily does she have to be senile.
Right, and that severe type of memory loss that you saw with what was defined as senility years ago and what is defined now as dementia or an Alzheimer's type of dementia, that type of memory loss is not a normal part of aging. And if people remember one thing from your broadcast tonight is that is not a normal part of aging, and if someone is experiencing problems with memory and those symptoms that we talked about, they need to find out the root of the problem, because there are reasons that people can have confusion and memory loss that can be reversed. For instance, they can be suffering from depression, or they can be suffering from malnutrition or dehydration or vitamin deficiency, or a whole list of things that can be reversed. So people really should talk to their doctor about their memory loss, be very specific about what they are experiencing, how long they have been experiencing this, real exact situations. And it's nice to have a family caregiver go to the doctors with them so that they can explain the types of symptoms that they're experiencing, and then find out what is the root of the problem.
Okay, because I was wondering, you know, if you say that the diagnosis should come at an age around 50 or 60, just to have it checked out, do a family member have to actually just pay attention and see how often their loved one forgets something, or you know, the memory seems to be affected? Like, Mom, didn't you hear the phone ring and she didn't answer it? Or, Mom, where's your keys? And she can't remember. I mean, because some things are so small and common that we don't want to confuse the fact that if you just misplaced your keys, or if you forgot to turn the pot off, you know, with the tea kettle, or you didn't answer the phone. You know, we don't want to.
We all do that.
Right.
We've all misplaced our car in a parking lot. We've all forgotten where we put our keys. It's the type of memory loss that affects your everyday functioning. For instance, you burn the tea kettle, but if you do that on a regular basis, eventually you're going to end up burning the house down. If you forget how to drive, or if you forget, you find your keys and you don't know what they're for, that type of thing. So it's that type of memory loss, not the type of memory loss that we all experience, but that type of memory loss that affects your ability to live independently.
Okay. Well, Maria, let's go to a commercial break, and we'll be right back with some more of this good information.
All of us need help. With our kids. With our parents. When we're sick. When we're in trouble. When we're alone. Help is a gift of love. All it takes is you.
Hi, and welcome back to the second half of the show. For those of you who are just now joining us, we have the Alzheimer's Association Detroit Area Chapter, and we're talking with the director, Marie DeCostanza. Now, Marie, we left off with some very good information here, and what I wanted to ask you about was some of the service providing information that you have.
We provide a lot of different programs and services through the agency, and I would encourage people, if they have Alzheimer's disease or they have a loved one with Alzheimer's and they need to know more about the disease, or they are looking for a specific program or service, to call our association. Our number is area code 248-557-8277. When you call that number, ask for the helpline if you need that type of information. We have specially trained volunteers who go through extensive training, and they answer any questions that you have about the disease. They can send you information, they can put you in touch with adult day programs or nursing homes or safety checklist or whatever your problem may be. So that's one of our programs that we have, one of our services. That's called our telephone helpline. We also have support groups, and I think support groups are very, very important. We have 55 different support groups throughout our service area, and our support groups are for all different groups. We have 3 early stage groups for people with Alzheimer's disease who are in the early stages of the disease, who can still talk about their feelings, and they get together and They do some volunteer work, and they also talk about the disease and support each other through these early stages. We also have support groups for people who have placed their loved ones in nursing homes, and they have some different issues they need to work through. We have support groups that meet all different days of the week and different areas, different times of the day. We have a gay and lesbian support group. We have a support group for kids. All different types of support groups. So I always encourage people to try out a support group, and if you find one and maybe you're not comfortable with one support group, try another one, because each one has its own flavor. Okay. So that's our support group system. Then we also have the Safe Return program, which I talked about earlier. We also have an autopsy assistance program. We have the education programs that take place through my department. We have a respite program, which is another name for giving the caregiver a break. Okay. So we have group respite, which is adult day programs. We have 3 adult day programs, 2 in Detroit, 1 in Southwest Detroit, and 1 at the Joseph Walker Williams Center behind Henry Ford Hospital in the central part of Detroit. And then we have a program on Saturdays in Birmingham at William Beaumont Rehab Institute. So we have 3 adult day programs, and we also have an in-home respite program where we have trained volunteers who come into the home and give the caregiver a break for about 4 hours. So we have some really good programs, and we're very proud of the programs and services that we offer.
Now let me ask you this: I mean, do you have a 1-800 number in case a person doesn't live within the 248 community, or they're calling from another state? Can they call from another state?
If you call from another state, the 1-800 number isn't going to work. Okay. The 1-800 number works throughout the state of Michigan, and it connects you with the chapter from where you're calling. So if you're calling from if you're calling in Ypsilanti or Ann Arbor and you call the 1-800 number, you're going to be connected to the South Central chapter. Okay. If you call within our service area, the 1-800 number is 1-800-337-3827, and that will connect you with our chapter, and so forth throughout the state, because there are 10 chapters throughout the state of Michigan.
So the chapters within Michigan can connect the person to the right chapter or the nearest chapter. We'll say that. Okay.
That 800 number will do that for you.
Can we have that 1-800 again?
Sure. 1-800-337-3827.
Okay. Okay. That's good. Okay. So in other words, there's no way a person can be left out from getting this information, because you can call the 1-800 number, or you can call the local 248 number and ask the type of questions that you just answered. Excuse me. What I have found out from you, though, is that there is a lot of different services under that one particular heading. And I don't think that the people, or our general public, really knows this. And I'm so glad you came today to tell us about it, because I'm sure that when a person or a family member is in search of services, do you get clients who come themselves and don't want their family members to know? And are they called patients, clients, customers? What do you call
We call them a lot of different things. Usually a person with dementia, or the patient, or the client, or the resident, depending if people are called residents if they're living in a facility, and it all depends on the discipline.
But do the people come on their own?
Sometimes people do. Sometimes people will walk into the office and want to talk to someone, and that was another program that I failed to mention, is a counseling and care management program. We have a counselor on staff who will talk to people, talk to family members. Our motto is someone to stand by you.
I noticed.
And
lovely pen.
We really do hope that people connect with us early in the disease and stay with us throughout the disease, and plan for the worst and hope for the best with the disease, because not everyone goes through all the different symptoms that you see. The disease affects people differently, and if you can get connected and get some support and know that we're there to help you, or at least get you in touch with people who can help you if we can't do it, I think that should be of some comfort to people. I hope it is.
Yeah, it sounds good. Now let me ask you, does exercise and eating right, does that have any effect on the disease itself? What I'm saying is, people say, well, I'm staying up on everything. I'm very knowledgeable. My grandkids fill me in. I read the newspaper. I walk 2 or 3 miles a day, and I do sit-ups, push-ups, and I eat a healthy diet. Do that have any effect on the dementia at all, or that's just...
Yeah, any kind of healthy living can help, healthy aging. And so when you look at vascular dementia or dementia from strokes, way to prevent stroke is to watch your diet and control your blood pressure and exercise and things like that. And that helps everyone. And staying active and staying involved in things and exercising your brain is very helpful. Right. I don't know that there's any research out there that says that would definitely delay the onset of the disease, because the risk, if you have a family member with Alzheimer's disease, your risk is a little bit higher for developing Alzheimer's. As you get older, your risk is higher. And if you've had a head injury with a loss of consciousness, your risk is higher.
Right.
So there's a lot of different things that play into your risk factors. But exercise and good diet is good for everyone.
All righty. Now, do you all have some yearly activities that you do? I missed one as usual. So, what are your yearly activities?
We do. We're a nonprofit, and we're always fundraising, and we have 3 major fundraisers every year. We have a bowling bonanza, which is just tons of fun, and we're having 2 different sessions this year. That's always held in March, and if people are interested in any of these, they can call the association and get more information. We have the bowling bonanza in March, and we have a memory walk held at the zoo in Royal Oak in August.
Okay.
And that's held every August. And then we just finished our November fundraiser, which is the Chocolate Jubilee, which is held at the Ritz-Carlton, always the Sunday before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And all 3 are very nice fundraisers. They're family events. They're a lot of fun. They raise money for a good cause. And anyone who would like to become involved with the association can get involved in our programs and services as a volunteer, or can also volunteer at our fundraisers. We're always looking for volunteers.
Okay, that sounds really nice. And you do have a walkathon in there, don't you have a walk?
We do. That's the memory walk.
Memory walk.
Yeah,
okay.
Every chapter in the country has a memory walk. That's the one national fundraiser that we have.
Okay, okay. So there's a patient, a client, customer, resident, whatever you want to title them, can call and receive information by the 248 number or the 1-800 number. Family members or interested parties can call to volunteer their time and services. Now, is there a certain amount of time a person should volunteer for, or does every minute count for something?
We take, anyone. You can volunteer 1 day a month, 1 day a year. It doesn't matter.
Okay, because I'm sure a lot of people want to, be involved in something, in a program like this is something to be involved in. I feel that our seniors or elders are living way more longer in these years gone by than our younger generation, and with the fact that they're living a little bit longer and stronger and more involvement in the community and activities-wise. I mean, we have a lot of the YMCAs and YWCAs have functions for the seniors more so now than they probably had 15 years ago or a little less. And these walkathons and chocolate jubilees support a lot of efforts in keeping, health-wise conscious individuals going. And that's important too. So let me ask you one quick question. In the event that is it a time frame that a person can call and seek information, like 24 hours or something?
We're open 5 days a week from 8:30 until 5, and there's always someone to answer the phone during that time. We also give a number for a crisis situation. If someone is calling in a crisis situation, we do give a contact number for that situation, so that really there's always 24 hours coverage.
Okay, crisis.
For those type of situations.
Okay, that's good. 'Cause sometimes you need someone to talk to, whether it's day or night or something, and you just want to, hear a calming voice in that way. Now, a quick question: is there support groups for other family members? I mean, what do you title that? So, if my father has Alzheimer's and I feel like I need a break from this, is there a support group that I can go to and actually talk and get a relief, or how do you support the other family members outside of the client that's actually
absolutely. Most of the support groups are for family members.
Okay.
We just have the 3 that are for the early stage members.
Okay.
The rest are for family members or loved ones who need to talk and get some support.
Okay. And that's from the children, the grandchildren, and everyone else that could be involved?
For everyone, yes.
Okay, yeah, because I don't think that the children really recognize a lot of the things that grandparents go through.
And sometimes it's the children's parents and not their grandparents that have the disease, so it's very important to offer that type of support.
Okay, has there been any study that if it's genetic or anything, if it skips one person, can go to the next generation? Has there been any kind of study?
There are some studies that show some genetic link. There are different chromosomes that they're looking at, and I'm not familiar enough to talk about each individual chromosome, but if you have a family member, a mother, father, sister, brother, who have Alzheimer's disease, your risk is increased.
Okay, okay.
So it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the disease, but you should be aware so that if you start developing memory problems, you can seek some help and find out what's going on, maybe get on some sort of a treatment.
Okay. Okay, now, and once again, I'm going to definitely support that effort to have our seniors recognize the fact they should be ID'd, A lot of people don't think that that's necessary, but the same is, now there's a ban out there for when you have a medical condition such as leukemia or
Medical alert, yeah.
Right, medical alert. Is your identification about the same, or?
That's about the same idea, yes, and it's for
Okay.
the person with Alzheimer's disease.
Okay, okay.
And also you can get one for if you're the sole caregiver for someone with Alzheimer's, you too need some kind of identification because if something happens to you, someone needs to know that someone is depending on you that has Alzheimer's disease, and so there needs to be a backup name in the system. So it's a really good program.
Okay, so actually I should be able to come in with my mom and I have her ID'd and my information goes in there with hers to state that I'm her daughter in care of or in search of if something should happen to her,
Yes.
if she should wander off. Is wandering one of the biggest crises or concerns for
It happens to a
Alzheimer's?
large percentage of people with Alzheimer's just because people become disoriented or because they're searching for something. There's a lot of different reasons behind wandering. But it's an important symptom to look at because you need to make sure that you're taking care of locking doors and making sure people aren't out wandering at night or in an unsafe situation.
Okay, because I have some friends of mine, their dad goes for a walk every day. He's 85 years old and he goes for a walk and he comes back and they say, "Dad, how's your day?" And I'm like, that's a nice little walk he takes,
But he doesn't have dementia.
No, and so I know that, by him being 85 years old, I would be a little concerned about this walk he takes, but he enjoys walking, he enjoys staying involved in something. So I kind of wonder sometimes, I have not asked him his ID, but I'll make sure I'll check on that because that is a good cause to have, make sure your people, it's just like a child. If you have a child in school, and the way things are now, you do want to have the child ID just the same in case the child wanders off, you can't find him or her after school. You have this little card or whatever with the picture on it, the milk carton, the paper. Yeah, so our elders should be about the same.
The problem with people with dementia is sometimes they don't remember their name or their address, so they're not even if they're found, they're not able to say who they are or where they belong, and that's why it's important to have that safe return bracelet.
Okay, well that's fine. Well, Marie, I want to thank you so much for coming and joining us again for
Thanks
a
for
wonderful
having me.
presentation.
It's been fun.
And please give us contact again when these events occur so we can definitely come out and catch some of the footage live.
I will.
Okay? Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you all know who I am. I'm your host, Marsha Florence for Just Ask. But as I always say, if you know someone with a disability, don't be afraid to ask. Just ask. I'm your host. Thank you.